What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and today we've got some brand spanking new Destiny 2 news, courtesy of the Bungie weekly update that has just gone live, revealing official information. And so, let's get started. Now, first things first, what's been going on this week for Destiny 2? Well, we have some pretty interesting and controversial things happening. One of those controversies, your boy is at the center of. So, first of all, let's talk about what happened with the weekly reset. Yet again, we actually had these servers taken down, but there was a lot of weirdness and kind of drama going on with that, because even though the servers were apparently off and officially Destiny 2 was offline, like you couldn't get on if you hadn't started up the game already, people who were already on the game were able to stay in, and then after the reset they were able to access the brand new Sunless Cell Strike, specifically the Grandmaster Nightfall that Bungie said was coming with Act 3. So here's footage of Destiny 2 streamer Clyde playing the Sunless Cell, only to be kicked at the final boss. That's right, every team was kicked except for I think one team did actually beat it, but now we have a bunch of downtime and the accidental release of the Rite of the Nine the previous week, and now Sunless Cell is accidentally released during downtime this week. Is Bungie gonna release the Apollo DLC during downtime next week? Like, what is going on here? Now, aside from that, guys, another reason for the downtime is that we got a new patch, update 8.5.2.1. Here are the changes you need to know about. So, for gameplay and investment, specifically weapons, they updated the Temptations hook to match the damage profiles of other modern caster frame swords. Essentially, that is a buff to the Temptations hook. Then for exotic weapons, importantly, they fixed an issue where the Barrow Dyad couldn't be crafted if the player had unlocked the 4th intrinsic, so a lot of people were kind of stuck, unable to change their Barrow Dyads, guys. And then also, they fixed an issue where weapons with the Subjugation Origin trait would not exhaust boss, mini-boss, or champion combatants, so they basically made those weapons even better. They fixed an issue where explosive payloads damage was not scaled correctly by some perks like Magnificent Howl and Master of Arms. This is very important for anyone who went out and got the, PvE God Roll Palindrome, which was Explosive plus Master of Arms or maybe Magnificent Howl. So those weren't working before. You were doing way less damage than you should until this week. So if you have one of those rolls in the vault, guys, absolutely take it out. And lastly, they had some fixes for the notorious Radiant Dance machines for PvP. And on top of all of that, in terms of new content, we had a very light update to the story in terms of a couple more, I think it was like one mission and, traveling back and forth from Eris's apartment. That was pretty much it. But we also had another Barrow Dyad exotic catalyst that dropped. If you want to know what to do, definitely check out my video linked right up above. And this one is Hatchling. So again, a lot of weirdness because on the developer live stream, Bungie specifically said that in Act 2, we'd be getting Target Lock and One for All. And we've gotten the two opposite catalysts to that. So, will we get all 4 in Act 2? Are they still saving 2 of the catalysts for Act 3? Who the heck knows at this point? However, apparently the start to that catalyst quest is a little bit bugged for some people, so just more weirdness. But on top of that, guys, the drama your boy has been involved in involves the Stronghold Titan build I posted a guide for on Sunday. So, first of all, that build went out and a ton of people have been messaging me saying, hey, this build is the reason I was able to get my Adept Lotus Eater or beat this hard piece of content. Like, it really did help me out, and that's a fantastic thing to see. But apparently this build has kind of taken over the LFGs, and a lot of people are very mad about it. A lot of people, to the point where Mr. Raffle Waffles had to do like a mental health checkup on me because he's like, dude, people's reaction is absolutely insane. Now, in fairness, I might be stoking the flames a little bit.
Wow, dude. How do these enemies keep dying? Everyone on Twitter told me that this does no damage. How does everything just keep dying? Oh, I really regret using this build. Nope. There goes the Lost Sector boss. Oh. What a terrible build.
And so, people's reactions to this build have been either incredibly positive or incredibly negative. Now, I will say, in fairness to the haters, there is a lot of people using this build incorrectly. It's not just blocking with the stronghold, you have to also help your team. But in the build video, I make it very clear, I show that you should be blocking behind your rally barricade in order to discharge bolt charge. I also talk about how you should use your block to get to an advantageous position to put down your rally barricade and go to town with the Le Monarch. Heck, I show gameplay of me farming Psyops Battlegrounds Cosmodrome in about 15 minutes with all 3 people using the Stronghold build, so obviously it has offensive capabilities. But there's also a massive group of people who are just mad about this build existing because it's not their playstyle, furious that people who don't usually play Grandmasters are able to beat one now. And that is just weird, man. Like, trying to gatekeep and ego people over what playstyle they should and shouldn't have in a T for teen game is not it. The more people that can access Destiny 2's endgame means the more people that care about it. And on top of all that, Destiny has always been about using the easiest, cheesiest stuff to get your loot. We've been shoving ourselves into half out of bounds areas to pixel peak bosses where they can't hit us back since Destiny 1 10 years ago. This is just the latest in the line of Destiny 2 cheeses, and it won't be the last, so hopefully people can start using this build more effectively and help their team, and other people can just simmer down a bit and everyone can get along and all share in the glorious god rolls together. Alright, now moving on from there, let's get to the brand new information within the TWAB. And first off, Bungie talks about how it is the halfway point for Guardian games. Right now, us Titan mains are in the lead with 6 wins, then Hunters have 3 daily wins, and Warlocks, you got none. Now, they then talk about just Guardian games in general. Overall, I actually enjoy this year's Guardian games. Rushdown is fun. Switching the bosses daily is interesting because it keeps things fresh, but it also results in like some days being way better to farm than others. The weapons, some of them are really interesting, specifically the Title SMG, even though it's an old one, it can get destabilizing rounds, so that is a really juicy one to go after. They also talk about Guardian games, Rushdown, Roulette right here, and go over the first place winners. And they also say don't miss out on the competitive contender emblem as well, available in limited quantities for all Rushdown Roulette participants, or as a gift sub drop on Twitch for the duration of Guardian games. After that, guys, they have a PvP strike team update focusing on competitive. So first of all, they talk about slow capture collision variant. So starting Tuesday, a new variant of collision will be available in the small team quick play playlist. This variant has been built to address feedback about the collision game mode in the competitive playlist, and we'd love for you to put it through its paces and provide additional feedback. You can see the rules right here. Then for competitive rank, you have points for gains and losses. You can see there's some changes to those point parameters right here. And also for matchmaking, they're talking about Smurf protection and stuff like that. So again, if you are a PvP player, you can see that. They also have an update to the skill delta modifier, so hopefully you will more evenly match teams or just have better overall matches that aren't massively lopsided. And then, guys, they talk about solo versus fireteam loss forgiveness. So when we rolled this out in 8.2.5, we quickly ran into a networking condition that caused the array we scanned for team sizes to sometimes return incorrect data. While we determined the issue within the first couple of days, a hotfix we launched to try to remediate the issue was partially successful but did not fully resolve the situation. In 8.2.5.2, we have a more robust code fix in place that we believe will cut down on the amount of failures, and once that has been verified, we will continue with our plans to reduce the stratification utilized by fireteam matchmaking and allow duos and trios to match each other in both competitive and trials. And that is a big thing, like actually saying, hey, if you are a solo player, you're not going to be punished as much for these losses. That is a huge factor in people being more willing to enter into these queues as solo players. Now, moving on from there, they have Ascendant 0 competitive emblem and showcasing the point breakdown that is required to get this emblem. Now, the interesting part is that they say because this emblem is so rare, we're keeping an eye on those who earn it, and people who acquire it unfairly directly through win trading, boosting, recovery services, or cheating will be banned. As always, you can help us out by reporting suspicious accounts, and then I have a link there, because apparently this emblem is so rare that a lot of people who do have it right now were boosting or cheating or whatever, so Bungie's actually acknowledged that and saying, we're actually coming after those people. And then you have the Eververse marks, cloaks, and bonds, a bunch of different stuff here to do with Eververse, guys. And then after that, Bungie talks about the Grandmaster Nightfall catch-up node, and this is a bit of a weird one because it went live this week, and it lets you select whatever Grandmaster you want. You can play the ones that aren't the featured weekly strike one time to go and get your Conqueror title. Except you can't, because one of the required Grandmasters is the Sunless Cell, and that was what caused it to be available when this weekly reset first happened. So you can get almost all of your Conqueror title done, and then you have to wait for the Sunless Cell to launch in Act 3. Again, kind of a weird one. Then we have an account linking or unlinking update right here, guys. You can no longer unlink accounts from Bungie.net. And then we have an update to the Destiny Exotic Armory Collection. So you can see right here, guys, we have the Barrow Dyad, we have the Slayer's Fang, we have the Choir of One, all of the different kind of featured exotics that you get through missions from this year's episodes. Now, interestingly, they say next week in Destiny, and they have a little section about what is all coming. So looking ahead, we want to give a little heads up on what we've got coming for the rest of this week and next week. So trials this weekend. With the current Heresy Arc meta surging, we've got the Heavy Burst Arc Hand Cannon, yesterday's question, as the featured weapon in Trials, guys. Our featured map for the weekend is Radiant Cliffs as well. Then the final week of Guardians games is going to be starting on the Tuesday weekly reset and then being that last week. And then the story continues, so we have more story mission content. Then after that, Nightfall rotation, they say next week we've got PsyOps Battleground Moon hitting rotation. That is another brutal one, and the reward is going to be the Slammer Sword, guys. And then Momentum Control is returning as well, guys. And then finally we have some known issues I'm just going to leave right here. If you want to see what's going on, nothing absolutely insane. And so, guys, that is it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel information, be sure to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.